see you here. It is.
I forgot to find them, you know, so I'm
Yeah, we can start. How you doing?
That's my compadre in crime.
I'm feeling better after commencement, so.
Are you feeling
Man, that's my little more.
Started. Because originally it was virtual enterprise. That was first.
Yeah, Michael. I found out yesterday. Italy or Germany or something.
Tony is flying to New York.
He said that would
Yeah. Because I said,
we said that. Should have been invited to 1, 2, 6. Did you see that? No. The meeting, sir?
that's okay. No problem. Okay. Good morning, everyone. I guess we should get going. Thank you all for being here this morning. It's a little chilly out there, a little breezy, considering it's been so warm lately. Well, for our community college faculty, their semester has ended. So hopefully things are slowing down a little bit. For our high school folks, things are almost there, a couple more weeks. But for us here at the consortium, today is our last event of this year. So we're very excited to get to this day. It's been a very busy week, and we'll share with you what we've been doing this week in a little bit. First things first, I guess I would like to ask for a motion to approve the last meeting minutes from March 20th. That's the blue handout in your folders. Okay, thank you, Nina.
A second.
Thank you, Debbie. Okay. All right. Well, it is amazing to me that my first year as director here is already coming to a close. It's been a whirlwind year, and I feel like I've learned and grown so much. And I have to admit that I knew that Amanda was a really tough act to follow. But I'm really proud of the work that we've been doing, and I hope that you're all pleased with the results, and I look forward to continuing the work here for the consortium. We've prepared some documents and some information for you. We're calling it a year in review, a summary of the 2012-13 year. And we have a couple attachments there for you. The first one being the event summary, and that's the light green handout. Or excuse me, I don't know if is it white in everyone's packets? It says light green on the agenda, but that's okay, it's white. This is the list of all of the events that we've done this year. We hosted and or co-sponsored 36 events, serving over 6,000 teachers, students, administrators, counselors, and other consortium partners. Wow. As you can see, some months were particularly busier than others, but the partnerships that we've had have just been really wonderful. Some great people to work with, and it's been exciting to meet so many new people. And I think the best part of this job really is getting to work with so many different institutions and educational organizations. It makes every day a new day. So I don't ever get bored, that's for sure. Staff development surveys help us determine what workshops to provide. So what we did at the advisory nights for Valley RP and Fresno RP is we collected the surveys on what staff development workshops people would like us to do for next year. And in your folders there is a pathway survey as well. So we always want your input on what you feel the staff development needs are for your organization, and try to plan accordingly as long as they fall within our grant objectives. So like I'm always saying, let me know what we can do to serve you. Back in August, State Center Consortium staff and I worked together to develop a strategic plan and set goals for this year. And we often reflected on these goals as a way for us to stay focused. And as a matter of fact, I pinned our 2012-13 goals to my bulletin board. So they were right in front of me every day. And I used that as a way to help us stay focused and try to do what we wanted to accomplish this year. So what we did was, to reflect those goals, we provided you with a sheet called Critical Outcomes. And so based on the goals that we set initially, these are the things that we feel that we accomplished this year. The first item being that we increased the visibility and we expanded the network of the consortium. One of the first things I did when I started is I went out and I met with all of the deans of the community colleges, because this was my first experience being in the community college district, and I wanted to know who everyone was and try to start building those relationships. But I think it was also beneficial for the deans that I met, for them to become aware of the consortium if they hadn't worked with us before, and share with them what we do and ask them how we can help support them. We also, let me go to my notes here. We also presented at the President's Cabinet meetings, again, trying to increase the awareness of the community college partners. And I feel like that's really increased the participation of our community college faculty and administrators this year. There seemed like there was a perception that the consortium did a lot with our high school partners, but not quite as much with the community college partners. And I feel like that's really started to balance itself well. And that's reflected in our collaboration events with our high school and community college faculty, where we've brought the teachers in similar content areas together. And that's really fostered some excellent new relationships and increased articulation in OccuTrack applications. For me, it's been incredibly rewarding to sit with these teachers and just listen to their discussions on what they're doing in their classrooms and hear them realize that they're on the same, they're working towards the same goals with the same students. And so that was our bullet point number 2, is that we provided collaboration events to bring those folks together. And then number 3, high school articulation. I really feel like we've made huge strides with high school articulation this year. First of all, establishing an official position with the consortium of an articulation officer. That was a big step. And then the president's cabinet, the chancellor's cabinet and the college presidents, rather, officially designating Christina as the articulation officer on behalf of the colleges was another huge step, I feel, in the right direction. So there's starting to be a greater acknowledgement of high school articulation, what that is, what that means, and how we can work together to accomplish that. Bless her heart, Christina, within the first 2 months of starting, helped launch our brand new articulation website, and we're really hoping, and she's going to share with you what that looks like in just a few moments. But that was a lot of work to transfer all the data and information from our old site into the new one, and there's still a few things here and there that need to be cleaned up. But for the most part, we're really excited about the look and feel of the new site and what hopefully or potentially it might do for articulation and the increase of applications, hopefully. Finally, ongoing meetings and discussions regarding approval processes for articulation. This year we've had several meetings with our curriculum committees and increased their awareness of high school articulation as well. And we want to continue these discussions. And there's been a thought that we will assemble an ad hoc committee to talk about high school articulation and involve some of our high school CTE partners with our community college faculty members, curriculum committees, and administrators to delve down into what we're currently doing or what we have done in the past and what we can do moving forward to improve those processes. So we're going to continue working on that as well. But I feel like we've made a lot of progress in that regard. So those are our critical outcomes. Any questions about any of those items that I've shared as far as what we've done this year? I want to take a moment to acknowledge all of you as advisory partners. We could not have done any of these things without your input and support. Each and every one of you has been an active participant in State Center Consortium activities this year. Thank you so much. Some of you have spurred new discussions and ideas for collaboration. Others have provided me with connections and assisted me in navigating in this new role. Thank you. And I cannot say enough how grateful I am to have such a wonderful advisory committee to guide the work of the consortium. So thank you all very much. Can you give yourselves a round of applause? Thank you so much. And I also want to take a moment to acknowledge my staff. Shelly Powell in the back is our CTE Teach Mentor. And if there could be a Teacher Mentor of the Year award, Shelly would win every year because she always goes above and beyond. She participates in activities for the consortium that go outside of her CTE Teach role, and I really appreciate that, Shelly. You're a huge component of our team. Aaron is here this morning. Aaron Hope is our accountant for the consortium, and he's always there when I need him because he helps us keep focused and make sure we're submitting grants on time and with the budgets and everything. He makes sure that we're spending all of that money. So we still have money here, Lori. Let's make sure we spend that so then I can make some phone calls, and he always keeps me on the ball. So thank you, Aaron. Christina, our newest member of the team here, jumped on board in February, and whether or not she was scared to death, she never showed it. But she's just been a great addition to the team, and so I really appreciate all that she's done. And she's really made a lot of connections and relationships already with not just the community college faculty and counselors that she knew, but a lot of the high school teachers from our workshops. She's very personable, and so people have already been contacting her about articulation. And then Debbie Cardoza. This is the lady that really makes everything happen because these 36 events that you see right here could not have happened without Debbie's work in preparing all the materials and talking to the attendees. And anytime anybody has a question and I'm not available, Debbie is right there to assist them. And so you guys may have heard the saying that behind every good man, there's an even better woman. I think behind every good administrator, there's an even better assistant. And so thank you so much for all that you do for us. So she takes care of all of those details. So thank you for that moment. Okay. All right, advisory board survey results. So you have some results in yellow in your packet. And so after the last advisory meeting, we sent out like an online survey to all of our advisory board members. And we had 18 responses. And I wanted to just highlight some of the input we got from that survey. So in regards to how you feel that we're doing as a staff, I feel like we were rated pretty highly, so that's nice. We want to continue to encourage some collaborative input. Some of the strengths that you mentioned were that the opportunity to communicate and collaborate with others. I'm glad that you all feel that we're doing what we need to do to respond to your needs and to provide those opportunities for collaboration. Some of the areas that need improvement or suggestions that were made, I think are fabulous, like reaching out to some of the smaller school districts. As far as opportunities for partners to assist with the planning of in-service choices, those are those staff development surveys we've talked about. And feel free, please, to always give me a call or send me an email if you have an idea for staff development. Like I said, we consistently need your input so that we know what activities to plan. But we do use those staff development surveys and those pathway surveys when we do our annual planning meeting to really provide the rough skeleton for the year. So please feel free to contact us at any time. The State Center Consortium website, this upcoming year, we will be updating that a little bit, but the articulation website kind of had mixed reviews, and I have to say that was before we launched the new site. So I'm hoping that now with the new site, you all will feel that it's a little more user-friendly and easier to navigate, and so that should be there. Is there anyone online with us right now, Debbie?
Yes, Chris Whiteside
Chris
and Rick
Whiteside.
Watson.
And Rick Watson. Okay, good morning, Chris and Rick. We're glad that you can make it. I was mentioning that because we have kind of mixed reviews. Some people do use our online webcast during the meetings and tune in that way, and so we appreciate that. And thank you, Mark, and the Instructional Services Department at Fresno County Office of Ed for always being here to provide that service for us. We added constant contact this year, and I hope that you all have been getting those emails and they haven't been sent to your spam folders, but that's our main way of communicating with you. We've sent out the Chronicle, which is our quarterly newsletter, through Constant Contact. A lot of our email blasts and updates on events are sent that way, so I hope that that's been working well for you. And then, what else did I want to mention? Areas of need, professional development ideas. We had several requests for model curriculum standards, collaboration or training because of the new CTE standards for the state of California, and we are planning to do that next year. There was some requests for dual credit implementation or training on dual enrollment, which is our OcuTrack piece, and we will do those things as well. So I feel like we're on the same page. I feel very good with the information that you all provided. I want to point out one last thing. If you look at the very last page of the survey, it says length of association with State Center Consortium. And that pie is cut almost evenly. I thought this was so interesting that of those that responded, there were a little in each category. Some of you have been here for over 15 years, and some of you have been here just a couple years. But it's a good mix, I think, of what our board represents and the consortium partners that we have. So thank you for those of you that responded. And like we said, please feel free to contact us at any time if you have ideas for workshops or professional development activities that you need or that we can provide. Okay. Any questions on the survey? No? Okay. So, speaking of input, we're up to our focus topic of this year, or this meeting, and we really just wanted to get your input on planning for next year. And the survey was very helpful, and the staff development surveys, like we said, will be really helpful in our planning, but we're going to have our annual planning meeting next week. And so if there are any additional ideas that you have or you'd like to share, or maybe some larger themes that you'd like the consortium to work on for next year, this would be a great opportunity for you to share those with us. Kind of putting you all on the spot. The neon handout that you have in your folders is that pathway support survey. And if you can get these back to us today, wonderful, because they'll help in our planning meeting. But if you want to take them back and fill them out and send them back in, that's fine too. But if there's a particular pathway, and when we say pathway, we're talking about health services or ag and natural resources or whatever. If there's a certain curricular area that you feel needs additional training or support, we've had some people say that we have teachers in this area that they really want to collaborate with the high school people or whatever. And so those are ones that we try to plug in and work on. Anything in addition to maybe the results of the survey that you can think of that the consortium should work towards or implement next year? Obviously, Common Core is a big thing that was mentioned on the survey quite a bit as well. The new CTE standards. Articulation will be an ongoing work. No? Okay, great. Well, that's good.
We like your direction.
Say that again?
We like your direction.
Okay, good. Well, that's good. That makes me feel good if I'm moving in the right direction.
No,
Okay. Yes, ma'am.
just one comment actually for next year when you're planning your meetings.
Mhm.
If it's possible, in October and in March, there's a conference, CCCOE, and there's at least 9 of us that go and attend there. And we missed the March meeting because we were in that conference.
Mhm.
So if there's any way,
We already checked the dates.
Plan around that.
Uh-huh,
Okay,
and
great.
definitely. We didn't want to have that happen again. And I will be attending that in October as well, but the March date, we're definitely making sure that won't be conflicting. And that was the other, I'm glad you mentioned that, Claudia, because that was another part of the survey, was that we asked if we wanted to remain on the same day, the same week of the month, and it seemed like overwhelmingly everyone preferred the third Wednesday morning of the month. And we really meet every other month, but we're going to stay on Wednesday mornings on that third week of the month. So it seems like so far it's worked out. If there are anything like that comes up, we can look at changing the dates. But we tried to look at a lot of conferences and things that were going on. It seemed like we worked out pretty well with the dates that we had set. So thank you.
One PS I might add is, as we run each of those conferences and workshops and activities, we do ask for input from those participants. What else would they like covered? What directions do they know their career pathway is going that might have new avenues for us to address for next year? And so that too becomes one of our sources of input for and guiding us in our plan.
Okay. Attached to your tent cards today, you found a letter, and that letter is requesting your feedback on whether or not you would like to remain part of State Center Consortium on our advisory committee. If you can fill that out and get that back to us before you leave today, that would be wonderful. If you're not sure, or you might be wanting to designate someone else within your district to represent you, you can always mail it back into us, that's fine. But we wanted to provide that to you today so that we can have a heads up on who will be part of the Consortium Advisory Committee for next year. We also had a little note of thanks from this consortium staff provided on your folders today. Just another thank you for all of the participation and work that you've done this year in support of the consortium. Okay, grant funding update. Well, our CTE Perkins 10% reserve allocation that we get from the State Chancellor's Office has been affected by the sequestration. And what that means is that for the 13-14 year, the allocation that we will receive will be about $10,000 less than it was this year. Now, the President has proposed that that money be put back, but we don't know if that's going to happen yet or not. We're going to kind of wait on that. But I do want to let you all know that transitions grant that we get, or really it's an allocation from the State Chancellor's Office, has been decreased slightly. The CTE transitions grant is one that funds a majority of the articulation work that we do. That allocation also supports some of the outreach activities that we have spent on this year, and the textbooks for articulated programs and things like that. So that will be impacted slightly. It doesn't sound like a lot, but this allocation goes out to every community college in California, and everyone was decreased the same amount across the board. So because it's an allocation, we have little control over that. Although I was contacted by COS, who is submitting for or has submitted a grant for health workforce investment, and they've asked us to work with them on that grant, and they will be providing us a small amount to do some professional development workshops as part of that grant. CITD has also approached us to help with some of the curriculum development of one of their grants, and so we will be working with them. And then I'm also talking with Natalie Culver-Dawkins at CTC through Fresno City College about submitting a federal grant through the National Science Foundation for advanced technology and education, and that is a grant in that STEM area, which is really big right now. As a matter of fact, I had a note here that nearly $180 million will be redirected from consolidated programs to the Department of Education, the National Science Foundation, and the Smithsonian Institution to develop, to implement initiatives in core reform areas. So 150 of that 180 million goes to STEM innovation. And so STEM is going to be a big part, I think, of what you're going to start seeing. There's a lot of money attached to that, professional development in that area and curriculum development in that area. So, so we are working on some, like I said, we've been approached by a couple different folks that we can work with on implementing some parts of their grant to help supplement the loss of the decrease rather of the transitions allocation, and we are looking for other ways to sustain the consortium and do things. We still will be getting our, like we have currently 2 phases of the community collaborative grants through the Community College Chancellor's Office as well. And those are the big bulk, really, of the funds that support us. The transitions allocation is a smaller piece of that anyways, but we did want to give you an update on grants and funding. Legislative news is in the goldenrod color, and I just wanted to share with you a couple things that I had been hearing about. There is a sheet right behind the legislative update page that says career readiness for all, and this was kind of a summation of some of President Obama's 2014 budget requests, and I felt like all 3 of them really impact career technical education. He's proposing that Perkins be reauthorized at $1.1 billion, which would be equal to the 2012 amount before the sequestration. There's a high school redesign part that involves business and industry, making sure students graduate from high school with college credit and career-related experience, putting them on the path to college and career success. And then there's $42 million that he wants to propose for dual enrollment, which is like our OccuTrack piece. There has been research that has shown that participation in dual enrollment programs is linked to increased high school graduation, higher rates of college enrollment and persistence, and higher college credit accrual rates. And this is what we have been sharing with our community college folks, that we want to try to increase our dual enrollment programs. And there's actually going to be competitive grants to establish and expand dual enrollment programs for students in high schools. And so that's going to be something else that we're going to be looking into. And these things were proposed on April 10th of 2013. And there's another sheet there that talks about his budget proposal for education as a whole that I just thought I would throw in there. But STEM, of course, is a big piece of that. But I wanted to also make sure I mentioned the Perkins reauthorization and the dual enrollment piece as well. The dual enrollment program is a $10 million increase, by the way, and apparently, from what has been proposed in the past. So another little note, because I'm a member of the Association for Career Technical Education, I get a lot of federal legislation updates through that group. And there was an article that they just sent out recently that said that the Perkins funding for fiscal year 14 has huge bipartisan support in the House. It says 63 members of the House of Representatives have expressed their support for funding for CTE. Also they're talking about the critical role that Perkins plays in supporting CTE programs and the importance of high quality CTE programs for students. And I found it also interesting that there is a CTE, or Career Technical Education Caucus, at the federal level, and that they held their first briefing of the 113th Congress, and it was like a workshop that they did for the Capitol Hill staff, and it was called CTE 101, the nuts and bolts of establishing a qualified workforce. So these folks, co-chaired by Representative Glenn Thompson, which was the guy that we showed you the video from last time, and Representative James Langvin held the briefing. They're kind of the co-chairs of the caucus, but I thought that really this is great to hear that there's so much activity and discussion going on at the federal level that is in support of career technical education. So hopefully that will come down the chain to us. But the CTE caucus was established in 2007 and has grown to 60 members now. So apparently they're starting to understand the importance of CTE, and I think that that's really neat that they're spreading the word. The state of California, okay, so the governor's May revise was just released last week, and there has been a lot of discussion about the local control funding formula. And I heard that ROPs were removed from that, at least for the next 2 years. And I was going to ask Valerie to elaborate on that a little bit.
The clarification in the governor's language, first of all, I'm not sure what you were hearing from your advocates, but we were basically told to prepare for not much change in a May revise, because anything the governor's willing to deal on, he's saving for dealing now going forward to the budget in June 15. So there's a lot of pressure on him and the legislature to protect career technical education, not just ROPs, but ag incentive, California Partnership Academies, and there's this little tiny pot called specialized secondary programs. Because people are beginning to understand the damage it would do if that money was no longer targeted for career technical education. AXA, the Administrators Association, has testified on a couple different times that there are many districts who have language written into their labor agreements that any of the money that would come to the district would be considered new, and so specific percentages will get siphoned off into salary ranges, and that there would be pressure on a lot of the districts to put the money into elementary level reading programs or to backfill transportation. So even those districts that are very strong in career technical education because of their relationship with those 3 funded programs would really have a difficult time maintaining where they are moving forward. Some of the districts, and Clovis is a good example, don't fare well under the local control funding formula. They would lose $700 per student, which is $26 million a year less than what they're getting now. So anything that they would get from those programs to supplement, the backfill for them would be great, and so that's been a concern. So we saw some language that came out of the revise that did a couple things. It addressed joint partnership authorities, JPAs, for ROPs and for transportation. So the closest transportation piece to us would be Southwest Transportation, which is Riverdale, Layton, Carruthers. And then Debbie obviously is a JPA arrangement. And so what it said was if you were a JPA that was being funded now, the districts had to continue to fund you for the next 2 years. It didn't affect our ROP of Fresno side, the county side, because we're considered part of the county office's hold harmless. But everybody falters in 2 years, because what will happen is eventually none of these programs are subject to COLA and growth. So eventually it's almost like it's false advertising to some degree, because it looks like you're saving something, but if there's no COLA and growth and you just continue to squeeze in with cost of living pressures and increased costs of delivering programs, you hit a point at which you can't continue to offer anything with the dollars that you have. So the 2-year piece, it's not really clear if the 2-year piece is because there's 2 years left on his term. If it's because 2 years is when the categorical flexibility was originally slated to end. There has been some conversation at the state about extending flexibility to 2020 from 2015, which affects all of us in both systems. There has been language from Senator Liu, who chairs Senate Education, that if they do extend flexibility, they're going to pull out ROP and adult ed from that flexibility piece, because I think the thing that has helped ROPs the most, besides the fact that there's a lot of commitment on the local level to make sure those classes are offered, is you have the example of what's happened to adult ed around the state under Tier 3 flexibility that people can point to as a reason for not continuing down this road. So, we know there'll be a budget by June 15th because they don't get paid if they don't pass a budget by June 15th. It doesn't mean it's a good budget, it just means there is a budget. And right now we're in the process of really having conversations around what does the local control funding formula really mean? Where are those areas that the governor might budge? One of the things you saw in the revise is a 2-year reprieve on moving adult ed out of the K-12 system and pushing it into the community college system. But then his solution is at the end of 2 years, you need to create a consortium of adult ed providers, and that's where the money would come from in the future. So everything hinges on this 2-year thing, so we'll see what that is like and to what degree he's willing to negotiate. Senator Hancock is who is carrying legislation to protect career technical education, and they've done something very interesting at the Senate level. Senator Liu has SB 69, and that's the Senate's version of what the local control funding formula looks like. They want to give the governor a win because last year they wiped out weighted student formula, so they feel like they've got to negotiate somewhere and not take everything away, but they're trying to figure out what are those parts and pieces that don't really play out. There's a group of districts, Clovis is one of those, about 40 districts that are what we would call losers in the formula based on how it's being presented at this point in time. But it's also one of those moving targets because nobody can come up with the same calculations on a local level that the state's coming up with. So it's hard to know what numbers they used, what number they pulled from, what year they pulled from. because it's not consistent. Yesterday, I believe School Services did a workshop. There's another one coming up in 2 weeks that's a Capital Advisors Group. So it's kind of one of those stay tuned today kind of conversations. But we're excited because Senator Liu's proposal ties its success to this passage and signing of SB 660, which is the Career Technical Education Protection, meaning one cannot be passed and enforced without the other. So that was a huge boost up for career technical education. We had over 200 letters submitted for the first Senate Education hearing in support, and we're continuing to solicit letters from business and labor because the feeling is that's who the governor will listen to when it gets to that point in time. So.
Thank you, Valerie. Valerie serves as the president currently for the California Association for Regional Occupational Centers and Programs. So she's up at the state often and is really our resident expert on what's going on. So thank you, Valerie. Another thing that's going on right now is SB 1458, which was signed in September of 2012. There are some changes that are going to be made to the composition of the Academic Performance Index. Right now, that is composed 100% of test scores. And what they're looking to do is retain 60% of that based on student testing data. And the other 40% will be made up of what they're considering college and career indicators and maybe graduation rates. What they've been doing is hosting regional public meetings, and there was one at the Fresno County Office of Education on April 25th. And I wanted to go, but I couldn't because we had our articulation workshop that day. But they're hosting these regional public meetings to get input from folks on what this other 40% should be made up of. And so there's a lot of discussion happening on that right now. We'll keep you posted. But these college and career indicators could include CTE programs of study, completion, if students are taking CTE programs, but we're not yet sure what that's going to look like. They're still in talks to see what that will be. So those are the updates that we currently have for you. And one other update to our local Fresno County Office of Education is that last Thursday, Jim Yovino was appointed as the Fresno County Office of Education Superintendent of Schools. So, we are so excited about that. That's awesome news. Going to do a great job. So Jim will continue to serve. Larry officially resigns
June 28th.
June 28th. And so July
June
1.
29th.
June 29th.
Actually, it's July 1st. So for 2 days, everyone can do anything they want.
You heard it here first.
It's like Friday.
Congratulations,
Yeah, I'm
Jim.
real excited. Thank you.
Okay, so to wrap up our highlights for the consortium, we are going to have Christina show you what the new 2+2 articulation website looks like, and she's going to go over a couple of the new features that are available.
This is the new website, and I'm not sure how many people in here were on the old website, but it's nice and bright, and the old one was brown and yellow, so that's a really good new feature. So visually, I think it's a lot nicer. And on the first page, we have an explanation of what is 2+2 articulation, and it also assists the teachers here to know what the steps are they need to take in terms of getting their courses articulated. And so it goes step 1, the collaboration, step 2, how to sign up with your articulation account, step 3, where their applications go to get approved, and then the approval. Another feature here is right on the home site, you can filter through the agreements, all of the agreements that we have, the active ones. You can filter it with high school, using the high school. I don't know why I clicked that one. Let's do control there. It'll tell you how many active articulations they have, or you can filter it by college. And we have over 100 here at City College, and then I believe about 38 at Reedley College.
The blue highlighted ones that you see there, those are statewide, statewide career pathways approved. That's why they're highlighted.
And that's a little bit of a change from our last one. I think the last one indicated with an S, and now we're just highlighting them in blue here. And then you can also filter it through industry sector. So we can know how many are in the ag and natural resources. We did have the new website align the industry sectors with the 15 industry sectors. The one that we had previously on the old website, it didn't align with the 15 industry sectors. So now it does. Education here again. We also have an about page, which again talks about 2+2 articulation. And on here you can also click on OptiTrack agreements. And that will take you to an informational page here about what is OptiTrack. I think doing the workshops, a lot of the workshops and in-services recently, we have found that a lot of people don't know what OptiTrack is. So we're educating them about what it is and the dual enrollment of OptiTrack, what it does for students, how to apply, and then what happens after you've been OptiTrack there. And on here you can also filter that. The agreements page will show all of the active 2+2 articulation agreements that we have here. And then you can also export the all of the agreements here and save it and do what you need to do it with it. And now on the top page, if you click the OptiTrack, it'll show the current active OptiTrack agreements that we have here. Then we have the apply page for the teachers and how to apply for your articulation agreement with the application. And throughout here, they have links to be able to contact me if they have any questions. So I've been getting a lot of emails from teachers inquiring about the process and what to do. So I do get those emails. It comes directly to me. And now the teachers link up on the top here has an explanation of what it does for them and how to get started. I have been telling them that they need to collaborate first in terms of trying to get their curriculum aligned with the faculty members. So if they contact me about a certain course they want articulated, what I'm doing is I'm contacting them and saying, okay, first we have to see who the faculty member is, and we're going to get you in communication with them in order to help you align your curriculum. And that way it increases the chances of the articulation, the application getting approved. And then it shows them how to get started, how to create an account if they don't have one. This is a really good link here, which I love it. It's a new feature. And if you click here, it will take you to the Fresno City College or Reedley College catalog. And so if a teacher contacts me and says, hey, I want to know what course my art class, art animation articulates to, we can look in the catalog and see what art classes or graphic communication classes at City College, what those classes might articulate to. So we can start there. I usually tell them to look in that section. So that's a really good resource that we have on the link currently. And it has one for Reedley College as well. And then it also explains, once your course is articulated, what happens. And on the resource page, we have the 2+2 certificate. I'm gonna have to email someone today. And then another good feature on this new website is a students resource section. So the students can go on there and get information about if they've taken a 2+2 articulation course, and what it does for them, how to search the site as well. And then a login page, a resources page, and then my contact on the end. Does anyone have any questions? Yes.
So for our old login credentials, do we go in and create a new account?
You don't. You actually have your, because it's tied to your email address. So it'd be your email address, and then the password would be articulation, and then you have to go in and create a new password.
Yeah, we sent an email out. Hopefully you all received those. If you had an existing account with the old articulation website, you were sent an email that said you're going to use the same email address for the new website, but we had to reset everyone's password generically to articulation. And then it'll prompt you to reset that once you log in the first time. So feel free to contact Christina if you have any questions regarding articulation. If you see something on the site that isn't working,
Yeah.
like that one link, that stuff happens.
We've had little glitches here and there, to be honest, and as soon as, I get that feedback, I go ahead and email or contact our web developer, and he gets on that.
We hired an independent firm out of Sacramento called Uptown Studios to do the development for this site. They had worked with several other community colleges on articulation websites, so they were familiar with how that worked, and they took our process and implemented it for our site. But they've been really fabulous to work with, and as a matter of fact, we gave them a very short timeline because we had our articulation workshop, and we had to have it launched by a certain day, and they made it happen, and they're very responsive. So anytime we see anything that needs to be fixed, we let them know, and they correct it right away. So we're really pleased with the results of that. And in addition to it being more user-friendly and overall a better look and feel, we are hoping that the additional information that's been added will be helpful for students to be able to collect their credits and just create a greater awareness of what articulation is, and encourage more people to find that information out. Okay. All right. So old business. We've been busy since the last meeting in March. We've been working with a lot of our partners and hosting some of our own workshops as well. On March 21st, we assisted with the Career Skills Challenge, and we provided some transportation expense for some of our high school partners to get their students there and participate. We also did the same thing with the Willow and Madera extravaganzas, which are similar to the showcase that is at Fresno City College, just a way for students to get on campus and see what's available at the college. The Classified Professionals Mega Conference was held on March 26th at Pardini's, and this is something that they do every year for the classified professionals within State Center Community College District. They asked us to be part of a presentation that they called SCCCD's Best Kept Secrets. And so it was State Center Consortium and CITD, and we presented together and shared what we do, because there were a lot of folks that just don't know that the consortium exists, or if they know it exists, they aren't sure what it is or how we fit into the district. And so that went over very well. A good response from that. On March 27th, there was the Mayor's Youth Job Fair, and Doug, I don't know if you want to say anything about that, but apparently you had over 2,000 students come to Manchester for job.
We're pleased with it on just about every level. There's a couple things that we'd like to improve, and that is to get more jobs for the younger kids, because we have that a larger percentage of them were 18 and older. So that is a major focus for the next year's year.
And the planning committee for that is part of the Education Business Committee as part of the chamber.
Business Education Committee, the Crescent Chamber.
Right, okay, thanks Doug. The 4th Annual Career Pathway Summit and Joint Advisory Meeting was held on April 17th at Reedley College, and that is the joint meeting between the Valley ROP teachers and their advisors and the Reedley College faculty and advisors. And so that went over very well, had a very large crowd at that. The Health and Service Pipeline Initiative Workshop on April 18th. Here, we had health and science instructors come out and learn from the HASP crew some really great project ideas and curriculum, the whole binder of good curriculum ideas and projects for them to use with their students. So they were really excited about that. Fresno RP had their advisory night on April 23rd, and there were how many people there, Valerie? Several hundred. Yeah, it was a big group. Very, very nice night there at Clovis North. The spring articulation workshop we held for our State Center Community College District faculty and administrators on April 25th, and that was our preview of the new site. Here's what's coming, and also another overview of 2+2 articulation and what it is and how it works. And we're going to continue doing these workshops. Our goal is to continue doing them every semester, so one in the fall, one in the spring, to grow that awareness of articulation and get more people involved. On May 1st, we had a math and engineering collaboration day, which was hugely effective. We had folks here from Fresno State, Wiles School of Engineering. We had a representative from Business and Industry who is the chief engineer for, gosh, I know I was going to forget the name of the company. I should have written it down. JB Food Tech. And Madera High School had several instructors here, and some of the other high schools, and they talked about the importance of math in the engineering field, and they really had a lot of really great ideas on what they can do to encourage students to be more involved in engineering programs, and how to create a better awareness of the need for math skills and how important that is for them to be successful in the engineering arena. Also on May 1st, and it's not listed here, I'm sorry we didn't put it on the agenda, but I want to mention that on May 1st, Clovis East hosted their second Public Services Day. And Greg, I was going to have you speak to that.
Yes, we have a second annual, and I think we made mention that we need volunteers for the free felony. That's exactly what we're going to do. But the goal of that even is to promote the public safety pathway. We have two teachers in Clovis East, one of Michael McComb on the fire side, and then Tony Sanders on the police side. And at the event, we probably had approximately 15 agencies, including Fresno Police, Clovis Police, SWAT, Department of Homeland Security, CAL FIRE, Clovis Fire, Fresno Fire, Department of Homeland Security. So imagine about 8 o'clock we open, about 9:15, all of the agencies arrived. And at about 9:30, the helicopters swirling around and lands. It's awesome. Had approximately 250 students from Clovis, Madera, Central, Sanger, and Kermit. Some of the events, in addition to the Green Felony Run, they had one where the Navy had these munition boxes that you have to carry about 100 yards. When you get to the end, you have to pick up a human being and carry them back. The young ladies outperformed the young men. It was amazing, but it was a great event for all the young people, and we're looking forward. If you want to participate next year, please send more students. Approximately 250 students, and we're looking forward to doing it again next year. It was awesome. The State Center Consortium financially supported us, and then Fresno County ROP supported us also financially and personally. It was amazing. Shelly, a culinary arts teacher from Clovis West, prepared their lunch. So it was amazing.
So bummed I had to miss that because of our collaboration day, but I'll definitely be there next year, Greg. It sounds like a really awesome event. So, also, not listed on the agenda here, but I wanted to mention that on April 19th, we supported a Career Technical Education Expo at Reedley College. And thank you, Claudia and Debbie, for helping organize that event. We supported some transportation expense for some of the students to travel onto Reedley College campus. And it was a little bit different than just kind of an open showcase. They had structured tours for the students for several of their CTE programs, aero and auto and manufacturing and ag. And it was really, really an awesome event. We had over 100 students that participated in that. And so that was also a fun, very fun day to see the kids. And then they did a barbecue at the end. It was fun. Okay. The OccuTrack workshop was on May 8th, and that was for our current OcuTrack approved instructors that that actually had sections this semester, and Christina did a wonderful job helping them navigate WebAdvisor and how to submit grades and attendance and answering a lot of questions that they had. OcuTrack's still fairly new, and so for some teachers, this is their first semester that they've had students dual enrolled, and they want to make sure that they're doing everything right because they're basically adjunct faculty for the community college district. So we hosted a workshop for them, and we'll continue doing those as well. And then we're to this week. And so this week, on Monday, we had our Adobe Premiere video editing workshop at Willow International. And thank you to Willow for providing us their beautiful lab once again. We had a Photoshop workshop there earlier in the year, and they loaded Premiere and After Effects just for us for this workshop. And we had a full house. The teachers came, and they really learned a lot and had a good time. Yesterday, we had our counselor workshop at Pardini's, where we brought together high school and community college counselors. We had people there from Fresno State as well, UC Merced, West Hills, and 23 different high schools represented. We had 123 that came, more registered, but that's how many showed up. And it was a full day of a lot of wonderful information, and they had opportunities to collaborate. We had Sonia Ortiz Mercado from the Community College Chancellor's Office. She's the Dean of Matriculation. She came down and spoke about the Student Success Act. And then we had John Mariskutz from the California Department of Education share some of the tools from the Career Resources Network. So they got some information from the state level. We had our deans of counseling and student services at our different college locations speak about the CTE programs on their campuses to share that with the high school counselors, and also some of the student support services that they provide, so that they will know where to send their students. And then we did a brief overview of articulation, so counselors are more aware of what we're doing with that and how to help support students in earning their credits and making sure that that's noted on high school transcripts and things like that. But I think that it was a tremendous success. We're so proud of that counseling workshop. We pulled a committee together. We've been meeting since January, and then to have it all come together was very rewarding, and we're glad it's over. But it was great. It was something new for me to have all those counselors together in the same room, and they all felt like it was very beneficial for them to have that time to collaborate with each other. So that was yesterday. So today, this has been a busy week, just a little bit, to say the least. We have 19 job shadowing opportunities available through 2014, and that is the teal worksheet here. And I know with summer coming up, there may be some teachers that you would like to go out into industry this summer. Maybe they want to spend a couple days and update their skills, and we've got grant funds available for this. So if you know somebody that might be interested, this is also posted on our website. Let us know, and we'll get that set up. New business. Shelley, I'm sorry.
I just have something. Debbie walked over and reminded me, so I'm always half asleep, I guess, at the meeting here. But one of the ideas you were talking about for next year, or kind of an old business item, one of the things that we've talked about with Valley RMP, I don't know how many people in the room has participated in Reedley College's Kaleidoscope in the past. And I see a few heads nodding. We haven't had Kaleidoscope for 2 years now, and we canceled it just because we were not getting our main feeder schools in the South Valley that were South County attending. And so we had some ideas of kind of repurposing that and maybe working a little closer with Valley ROP. And so there needs to be a reason for the students to be on campus that day, and we kicked around some ideas. So that's just what I wanted to kind of plant the seed there, that I know Debbie and I were talking about how we could possibly even do some skill challenges like they do at City College during their open house. And so anyhow, that's something that I just wanted to say in the open meeting here of planning that possibly for a spring activity. So.
And I think one of the problems that the districts had getting students to the college was the transportation and the expense, and that was kind of when all the cuts were made. And so Lori has money bags over there. Transportation money that so, that's kind of perhaps.
Absolutely. Anything else to add?
Sorry about that.
No, don't be sorry. That's good. This is what we want. We want input and ideas so we can plan for those things. Any others? Okay, well, Shelley is here, and she's not feeling well, but she's still here. She's a trooper.
And it's not you guys, because I think I was sick the last time. I want to look forward a little bit, but first look back. And, you know, the book that says, I learned everything I needed to know in kindergarten, I was a little hoopster coach. You know, they trusted me only with the ankle biters. So I was with like 4 and 5-year-olds. And they put me on the court with them, and they would hang right close to me. And I found some of the kids when they thought defense was attack like this. I'm going, okay, let's back off. Let's try another strategy. But I found that by coaching little hoopsters, I learned what I needed to do to coach teachers, because they hang pretty close to you, which is excellent because we want to give them some feedback and give them some skills. They needed to practice, they needed modeling, and they needed to rehearse what new things they were learning and network with new folks. And so this year, when I asked the teachers to give me feedback on what was most significant to you in this year, and they said the personal coaching, the chance to confidentially come alongside them, and when they had a little SOS flag flying high, I could come in and say, okay, let's strategize together, let me give you some tools and some resources. And so consistently, that's the word we hear from the teachers that are new in the classroom. They're thrust in there with great expertise in their area, but not necessarily that bank of tools. The other thing they said is just to have resources, because sometimes they think that textbook's the only thing I have. And so we plugged them in with resources, and a big part of that was finding someone in their field, both at the college level, because we wanted to create that bridge to college, as well as at the high school level, where they could call them and partner with them in their career pathway. So we put them on speed dial, and they could call folks, aside from myself, that knew things in their particular curricular area. The other feedback, and hopefully as giving you this as you're thinking of your new teachers coming on board, both at the college and high school level, what kinds of resources do they need to have to be successful and to make the kids successful as well. And so big thing, they said start up. You know, I'm going in there, but how do I start up the class? And so that we gave them those resources, a thumb drive with all the forms, and that they could plug in their personal information because they're overwhelmed. Anything we could reduce that, the level of the water and get their nose above the water line was a really helpful thing. As we look forward ahead to next year, we were told in year 1 we were going to be funded for 1 year, and then we were funded for 2 years. And then it reminded me of my grandmother, who, when she moved into a nursing home, she kind of rolled her wheelchair over to this guy a couple days after she had been there, and she said, you know, you look like my 3rd husband. And he said, well, ma'am, how many husbands have you had? And she said, 2. So we may have gotten funded 1 year, 2 year, we got our 3rd year, and now we're year 4. They cut the programs in half that are funded throughout the state. But we feel like the best way to represent the impact we're having, not only on the kids, because that's our big and primary goal, but on our teachers, is to hear from their voices themselves. How are we affecting you with CT Teach training and coaching and partnering with the colleges and the high schools? And so we have the video where they have given their own feedback over the last few years, and it's on our website, and you can take a look at that. And so knowing that teachers are benefiting, our kids are the beneficiaries, our schools are impacted as a whole, because then we're equipping them to go to the colleges. I want to thank Dave Clark and also Jim Chin. We went to those college sites, and they warmly welcomed us, and the college instructors partnered with our teachers and sat down eyeball to eyeball and did the 2+2 consultations, but also how can we make sure we're sequencing the courses to make that connection. As a whole, we feel very positive about the direction we've gone, and so we're now getting the recruits for the new year. This gives an overview of our program in your gray sheet in the handout, and kind of lets you know the purpose was teacher retention, and also because we saw such a turnover prior to training and teachers in the high school level being thrown into the classroom without having as much support as they felt they needed to be successful. And then in here, shows you the overview of what we cover. So let's say you're running your own program. I want to refer you to cteonline.org, great resource for training your new teachers. If you even, if I can't see all your teachers, obviously, because we're only funded 12 and a half hours a week. But this gives you an overview of what we cover on a regular basis, and that matches up with cteonline.org. And I have referred my colleagues there as well to say, you can plug in there and see what's available in terms of course examples, objectives. They have lesson examples with overheads and PowerPoints and all of that. So it's a great resource, as well as a training component that's on there. So let me know if I can be a source of information for you on how you put together your own training program as well. But thank you for the referrals. And right now, I think I have about 11 referrals. So if you have other people, I know Valley ROP right out of the gate, good on that. And then Fresno ROP has some coming my direction as well. So thank you very much, both at the college and high school levels, for partnering again on our third year and our fourth year, getting better as it goes. Thanks so much.
I want to commend Shelley on the job that she does with the teachers, and to kind of go back a little bit. The majority of our ROP teachers are industry people that are now coming into an education environment, and they haven't gone through the traditional credentialing program that most of us went through. And they're given a certificate, they're given a credential, temporary credential to go immediately into the classroom. And Shelley is their safety net to get out there. And so where it seems like maybe they should have already had the ed program, they're not. They're a work in progress. It's on-the-job training. And so what Shelley provides is invaluable for our teachers.
Thank you, Debbie. Appreciate that.
And Shelley?
And I just need to underscore, we can't do it without the support that we get, from the administrators and from the classroom teachers and partners. Other ROP teachers have been very warm in opening their classrooms, and CTE teachers, instructors at the college level. So it really is a team and a partnership event. So thank you and process.
Thank you for all your hard work, Shelley.
Thank you.
Mark, do you have an update from the County Office of Ed Instructional Technology Department?
I do. Other than the regular technology assistance we can offer to any school district, any entity out there, so to speak, our office is putting together a Common Core Summer Academy. 2 different cohorts are available. So the first cohort is June 17th through 21st. And then the second cohort is July 29th through 2nd. So this is a collaboration between our technology department, our math department, and our ELA department. So all entities will be there. It'll be really in-depth training looking at Common Core and instructional design and how best to deliver that to students. So for more information, the handout that's inside your packet here has all that there. And then the only other thing, next Thursday evening at the Veterans Memorial Building in downtown Clovis, we are once again hosting the Picture the Valley contest. This is our second year, and so we have, I think, about 30 or so participating students from about, I think, 7 or 8 different schools. I forgot to look up the exact stats before I came. But that's happening, so it's free and open to the public. So if you want to come see some student-made products, films talking about cultural impact on the valley, you can come check it out. It's free, 5:30, I think doors open, 5:30 to about 7 o'clock. And that's it.
Thank you so much, Mark. All right, looking ahead to next year, you have a postcard here with the dates for the 2013-14 consortium advisory meetings. So please mark your calendars. One additional change is that in order to hopefully save some trees, we are going to discontinue the mailing of the folders for those that cannot attend the meetings. What we're going to try to do is on our website post any documents or links to information that you might want instead of actually physically mailing the folders out. It costs postage and additional copies, and so We definitely encourage you to be here or tune in through the webcasts, but if you can't be here, you would just have to refer to the website for the information. All right, so upcoming events for next year, we already have several things in the works. The State Center Community College District is hosting a K-12 summit, and they're titling this Streamlining Student Success, Bridging K-12 and Community Colleges. And this is going to be on August 9th in the old administration building at Fresno City College, and you will all be receiving an official save the date. They're working on this. This is really an event that the district is hosting, and we wanted to include our consortium partners in this event. So it'll be on Friday, August 9th from 8 to 1 p.m., continental breakfast and lunch included, and they're going to have an educational panel. And then they want to include our consortium, K-12 partners and leaders, including superintendents and principals. The Fresno Compact members have been invited to attend as well. But what they're trying to do is, in addition to the panel, have an interactive dialogue with a range of educators talking about streamlining the student success. So that's exciting that they're working on doing that event. Fresno Compact, we will be hosting the Compact meeting here on September 6th, so we just wanted to note that we will be hosting that here that day. Technology in the classroom and Google tools for the classroom. We will be doing those again with the Fresno County Office of Education. Technology in the classroom is September 19th, and Google tools is on October 3rd, and those will be in the computer lab at the County Office of Ed. Those dates have been confirmed. Thank you, Mark. So we're on the board for that, and we'll be getting information out on our website about that as well, so people can register. Those always sell out really quickly. Everybody always wants to attend those, so it's kind of a no-brainer adding those in. We also wanted to note that the Fresno ROP Conference on October 15th and the Valley ROP in-service, fall in-service on November 1st, we will be doing presentations for the articulation website. So this is our chance to communicate the new website and all this information to our high school teachers that are out there. And so we wanted to make sure we shared that with you. Those things will be coming up. And then, last but certainly not least, the Savelli Conference, save the date, is in your folders, and this should have come to you through email as well. But there have been some changes. Marcy, did you want to share these?
Sure, I'd be happy to.
Okay.
So a new time of year, new location. And this is pertinent to educational leaders, pre-K through higher ed. October 17th is our date. We shifted from January for this event. We have two featured speakers that are phenomenal. You and your faculty leaders will really be interested in this. Dr. Eric Mazur is an award-winning educator. He's a physicist from Harvard, but he has perfected the notion of interactive teaching and the flipped classroom. So the idea that students do the reading and ingesting of information outside of the class, but inside of the class, they really work on understanding the tools and concepts. Sort of like you do your homework in the class, but you do the learning outside of the class. But he is phenomenally well received at all of the events that we've heard of. I think you and your faculty, or especially faculty leaders, would really appreciate that. Dr. Muriel Hardiman is from Johns Hopkins University. She may not be quite as well known as Eric Mazur, but her message is equally pertinent. She was a K-12 educator for 30 years, is in higher ed now, but she has perfected the merger of neuroscience with teaching. So, what we know about the brain and how we deliver information in schools and classroom is what she specializes in, and I think it's something that people will be really interested in. We will do one round of breakout sessions as well, where we try to feature local organizations, programs that are doing exemplary work. And our theme is Shaping 21st Century, so my request to you is, if you have someone on your campus or someone you're working with that you know really does exemplary work that needs to be showcased, let Lori or I know. We're putting together the breakout sessions right now. Because it's October 17th, the registration is going to open like 1st of August at the latest. But you'll need to give your folks a heads up that we need to speed up the registration process. So heads up, it's going to be a great day, downtown Fresno, Holiday Inn, and we'll look forward to
registration's coming in.
You will get an official mailer like we've done in the past with all of the details, but we did want to send a save the date out so people mark their calendars. It is changing to October, so it is earlier in the year, but.
Lori,
Yes,
can I
sir.
just add, Eric Mazur was one of the keynotes at the CISC Symposium, which was formerly a Silmar, and by far, all the evaluations rated him as the best thing at the entire conference. Just his hour-long keynote that he did there. So just for seeing him live and in person, it changed what I viewed a lot of that stuff, but our office helped put that whole thing on for the whole Curriculum and Instruction Steering Committee for the state of California, and all the evaluations said that he was hands down the best thing at the entire event.
And we're planning that both of those speakers, instead of them just doing a 45-minute keynote, and then if you want to go to a breakout session, we're doing 2.5 hours with them. So you get the big information as well as, how do you roll up your sleeves and make this stuff work, so that everyone gets an exposure for 2+ hours each with those two folks. So thanks for
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you, Mark. Yeah, absolutely. All right. One other thing I want to add before I forget is that Fresno County Office of Education, in collaboration with PG&E, is going to host a career technical education night on September 26th at the Convention Center, and I'm sure that you'll be receiving more information about that. But I did want to let y'all know they have kind of taken the college night idea and expanded it, and they're focusing more on career technical pathways and training, and the construction awareness day that they used to have, those folks are going to come in and they're going to have the big construction equipment out there in the parking lot and kind of make it a hands-on type of a activity. I want to say it was from 4 to 7 p.m., but I can send more information to you out about that, but that will be happening in the fall as well. So if you can get your letters or your pathway surveys to us before you go, that would be great. Other than that, I am excited to see you all next year. I hope that you enjoy your summer, or you hopefully get a little bit of a break. Does anyone have any last questions, comments?
Lori, I'd just like to congratulate you on a great job that you did this year.
Thank you. It's a pleasure being here, and I enjoy working with all of you. It's great to have such wonderful partners and support from all of you, so thank you very much. But with that, I guess meeting adjourned. Thank you.
It's time to